this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a most marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you'll know when new videos are being uploaded. Thank you for your comments, your thumbs up, and thank you for sharing the videos. Today I have a topic that I want to talk about, which also relates back to the video that I did on self-hatred. And the title of this video is Why Being Rich for African Americans Doesn't Bring Respect. I'm going to give some examples of why I say this. I'm going to give some reasons why it doesn't bring respect. And I'm going to suggest some things that can be done by rich African Americans to bring them respect and the honor that they are due among their own people. A few years ago, Oprah Winfrey, when she was still hosting her TV show, was in Switzerland for Tina Turner's wedding. She went into the Hermes store, and I'm sure I didn't say it right, and she saw this bag behind the counter that she wanted to see. The bag cost $38,000. The clerk went and said, let her see it. She said, no, you don't need to see it. I don't want to hurt your feelings. And she would not let Oprah see the bag. Oprah said she kept telling her, I really want to see it. And she wouldn't let her see it. Later, she claimed that she didn't recognize Oprah. Maybe she didn't, but she was a customer. Why couldn't she see the bag? So this act of passive aggression by this clerk became an international story. And they apologized like they do, but the woman wouldn't let her see the bag. And one before then, in New York City, she had been in one of those little boutique shops. And this time, they either wouldn't let her in the shop or they wouldn't let her try on something. I don't remember the exact incident, but it was something embarrassing and insulting that happened to her at one of those little boutique shops in New York City. So Oprah Winfrey, at that time, was reported to be the richest African American, and she received shoddy treatment in her own country and internationally over some overpriced dress or pocketbook. Wouldn't even let her look at that pocketbook. So this is what happens to African Americans who have earned the right to be respected. The next African American billionaire that has trouble getting respect is Robert F. Smith. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Vista Equity Partners, a leading global technology investment firm. He says that anywhere from 5 to 7 times a year, he's reminded that he's African American. As he goes about doing his business, he's stopped. He lives in Austin, Texas. He's stopped by the police. They run his tag and his license numbers. I guess they're trying to see if in a Rolls Royce he's going somewhere to snatch a pocketbook or rob a liquor store. And yes, that was a sarcastic statement. Robert F. Smith also stated that in a business meeting he was having a conversation with a Caucasian businessman, and during the course of the conversation the man said something to the effect of, yes, you are very smart and you're doing really well, but your heritage is going to hold you back. That statement could be interpreted a number of ways, but it's undeniable that he's saying that your race is going to be the determining factor as to whether or not you succeed in this business, not your skills, not your business ability, but your race. And that is a component of racism. So this man is in the Billionaires Club and he's living on Billionaires Row, but he gets no respect because he's a black man in America. The gatekeepers of bigotry are always on their job trying to make any black person that steps over their imaginary line feel as if they don't belong. But in the third instance, happened last week before last in Atlanta, Dominique Wilkins, who was a basketball star in Atlanta, who lives and does business in Atlanta now, went to an upscale restaurant in Buckhead, which is the most affluent area of Atlanta. He went to have lunch with a friend and he was turned away. And they were saying something about the way he was dressed, and he said he was dressed better than the people who were there at the restaurant, mostly white people. But they turned him away. When I heard about this incident, I was really embarrassed for him because there's really no reason for these things to keep happening. But this was a big, oversized, dark-skinned black man, and they didn't want him there, even though he's worth millions of dollars. The thing about that was all of them were rich. Those white people at that restaurant were rich too. They might have been scruffily dressed in beat-up sneakers and cargo pants, but it's a very good chance that in Buckhead, those people were rich too. The goal of this video is not to say that rich African Americans don't get any respect. They absolutely do. They get a lot of respect. But money does not insulate them from the bigotry embedded in the American society. But these were three accomplished African Americans behaving appropriately. They were just asking for basic services, and they were not treated with the respect that they deserved, because African Americans on this level have impeccable manners, and they receive this kind of trashy treatment often, according to them. These are just some well-known examples of African Americans being rich and not gaining respect. There was one recently in the paper of some black millionaire at a hotel in Florida, and they even left a note calling him and his son the N-word. Of course, they go back and apologize for these things, but this is the climate that they have to operate in, even though they have achieved enormously, but they are still not given the respect that they're due. So the question is why? Why is it that everybody else can be rich and be respected in this society, but when it comes to African Americans, they don't want to give them the respect? Why is that? I think that the answers are not that complicated. And I'm going to give 3 reasons and a bonus reason why I think this is the case. Number 1, America's self-esteem and image was built on black people being a bottom caste. That's why it's called systemic racism. It was a system. That system was based on black people working free. And the system doesn't like to change. Everybody is comfortable with black people being the bottom caste. If you go to the airport, you see black people doing the menial labor, even though there are black pilots, there are black stewardesses, or whatever they call them, those airline hostesses these days. There are black executives, at least on some executive level, but also at the bottom caste level, you see black people working. So that's part of it, that America likes seeing us at the bottom, even though there are those at the top and deserve to be at the top. America is most comfortable with us being at the bottom. The second reason is that the people that didn't like you before you got the money don't like you after you get the money. You've got the money, but they've got the attitude, and they've got the ability and the desire to put you in your place. And that's what they're willing to do regardless of what you have achieved. And the third reason is that you cannot buy respect. If it doesn't emanate from inside of you and show on the outside, then you don't get it, because you can't buy it from other people and they're not going to give it to you. And the bonus reason I think they don't want to respect rich black people is because of jealousy. It's just plain old jealousy. You got the money and I don't. And I'm not going to give you what you want the most, my approval and my respect. And when these things happen to black people, we all feel a sense of embarrassment and a sense of rage. How dare you not respect Oprah or Robert F. Smith or Dominique Wilkins or whoever the millionaire or billionaire is that has been diminished by the systemic ignorance in this country. So what are some of the things that they could do to offset this kind of backlash against their success? One of the ways that you can be assured that you will get respect in some of these instances is to own the venue. You want to go to a decent restaurant and be respected? Own the restaurant. That's what the Jewish people have done. They have experienced racism in a number of places in the world. But they put their money together and they own what they want. If they want to go to a nice restaurant, a country club, or hotel, they own it. And that way they can be assured that they're going to be respected. You don't see Chinese people running around being disrespected because you don't see them because they're in their own venue. The Indians own their own stuff. Black people are going to have to do the same thing. And then when you do come forward with people, they know you have your own stuff. Then you get more respect. But as long as you're going to their watering holes expecting to be respected by them, you're going to be rejected. And then another thing is with African Americans, one of the things that we have to do, and I believe it's the most important thing, is to stop trying to be good enough in the eyes of other people. As long as they are holding the key to your self-esteem and your self-respect, you are never going to have it. They are never going to give you the key to self-respect. You have to own that key. Now, just recently, day before yesterday, Deion Sanders, who is the coach at Jackson State University and HBCU, was having a press conference, and this white reporter kept referring to him as Deion as opposed to Coach Sanders. And he got up and walked out. And that's what you do. You let them know that you mean business. You're not my personal friend. I am the coach of this college, and I deserve to be treated with respect. Now, that was as strong a statement as he could make. He made that as it was a trending story. So that lets the next person know that you don't get to talk to me if you can't treat me with respect. That's how it's done. So to try and bring this together, coming from the bottom caste to being a part of the 1% in the United States of America is quite an accomplishment for African Americans who have reached that status. And they deserve respect. But they are not given those gifts and talents and money for them to go and try to be accepted by the class of people that they've been rejected by all the time. That is not, I don't believe that is why they have that money, and I don't believe that's why they were given those gifts. They were given those gifts, and that was to uplift their own people. But for some reason, whether it's self-hatred or arrogance, many of them do not want to do that. They do not want to uplift their own people. They want to nest in other communities and be uplifted by other races of people. And that is why we see them being embarrassed and rejected and taking losses going and coming. It is the price that they pay for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. The rich African Americans at this time, it's enough of them and enough of us who could be partners with them that we could create our own systems and not constantly have to go to somebody else's watering hole, be rejected and insulted. And that is where the future has to be for us if we want to be respected. Creating your own foundation first and then fanning it out into the greater society works for everybody else, and it would work for us too. When you don't have your own, you're always at somebody else's mercy trying to be good enough. Because really, trying to be good enough keeps you always going back to the trough like a pig. You never get full. You're constantly going back, which means that as long as you're trying to walk in the lanes of our former oppressors, you're constantly looking for acceptance, and you're constantly going to be rejected. And wealthy African Americans, instead of running as fast as they can to get away from their people, they should be running to their people. Because the African American culture works for everybody when properly managed. It has made white people, including Jews, Asians, Indians, other black people, as well as Hispanics, rich. The African American culture can make anybody rich. But at the end of the day, nothing takes the place of self-respect. Not beauty, not money, not education. Nothing takes the place of you having respect for yourself. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and share the video. And as always, have a great day.